Have you ever had a bad feeling about someone you just met? My electric and gas bill was due and I needed cash quick, otherwise they were going to shut my service off. I'm a 68-year-old waitress at the diner off the highway. This Tuesday it was slow and I needed $800 by Thursday. I didn't know if I was going to make the amount I needed. That's when they walked in. A man dressed in an expensive suit and a woman in a pristine white dress and leather purse. Definitely city folk. Usually it means big tips. This was it. This was my answer to keep my electricity and heat on. But they didn't sit in my section. They sat in Paul's section, and Paul wasn't the nicest coworker. But I begged him, please, let me take this table. I really need the extra cash. Surprisingly, Paul agreed. As I walked to the table, I stared at the man and got a really uneasy feeling in my gut. Maybe this wasn't such a good idea. But I put a smile on and greet them at the table with a pot of coffee. Morning, folks, what can I get ya? The man didn't even look up from his phone. Is that coffee actually hot, or should you make a fresh pot? I tried to keep my voice calm. Sure, I can brew a fresh pot. As the coffee brewed, I couldn't keep my eyes off of them. That man, there was something about him. Have you ever looked at someone and you got a horrible feeling in your gut? That's how I felt, and I couldn't shake it. I just knew this guy was bad news. After the coffee brewed, I brought it over to the table and started to pour a cup. But just then, a jolt of pain from my arthritis shot up my arm. I twitched slightly and spilled the coffee. It didn't get on them, but a little bit got on the woman's purse on the table. The woman shrieked and the whole diner went quiet. She screamed at me, "You stupid old hag! Do you know what kind of bag this is? It's worth $15,000. You ruined it." I reached for my rag to try and wipe the table and I started to stutter. I'm so sorry, ma'am." That's when it happened. The man stood up so quickly I didn't have time to process what was happening, and wham! He smacked me across my cheek. I stumbled back and tears filled my eyes. I couldn't believe it. I'm a grandmother, and this stranger just smacked me like I was an unruly dog. He continued, "You're going to pay for that. I should have you arrested for property damage. Do you know who I am?" I stood there silent, almost like I was waiting for my manager to come out of the kitchen roaring, or for one of the truck drivers at the counter to say something. But the room was frozen in shock. Nobody moves when a rich man gets angry talking about getting lawyers involved. Nobody. Except one man sitting in the back booth. He was massive, 6'4", easily 300 pounds of muscle, wearing a motorcycle jacket. He walked over slowly. He stopped right in between me and the man in the suit. He didn't look at the rich guy. Instead, he looked at me first. His tattooed, covered hand gently wiped a tear from my cheek. "Are you okay, Mom?" he asked me. But I just looked at the man in the suit. The man in the suit let out a high-pitched laugh, almost panicking now. "Mom? Oh, this is perfect. Look, pal, take your mother back to the trailer park before this goes any further." My son smiled at him and looked around at the rest of the customers. One by one, they all got up and left the restaurant. Not all of them, though. My son's crew stood up. The man in the suit knew at this moment the mistake he just made. My son looked at the man as his crew slowly moved closer. The man tried to plead, "Please, guys, I'm sorry, I'll just pay the bill and leave." As he said that, one of the boys in my son's crew locked the front door. My son smiled at him. "Looks like you can't leave."